Okay, there's been a lot of news going on lately about a few things that have been hitting the airwaves. The recent one is, of course, the remake of Snow White, starring Rachel Zegler, or Ziegler, however the hell you want to pronounce your last name, and Gail Gadot. You know, I grew up watching the old one, the animated feature from the 30s. And then I've seen Disney since, I think, about the mid to late 90s on forward, pretty much shoot itself in the foot. Not with a pistol, not with a rifle, but a damn shotgun. Double barrel, too. Over under. Yo, guys, Disney. Folks, stop. You've alienated like 75 to 80% of your fan base. The people that grew up watching the old ones, okay? Whose parents watched them, whose grandparents saw them in the theaters, okay? Now, adjusted for inflation, Snow White is the highest grossing animated film ever made. Ever. Okay? Which leads me to ask the Captain Obvious $64,000 question. To the producer. Dude, why would you ever? I mean, I understand how woke you are, but dude, even the woke crowd is distancing themselves from your decision. That's right, it's your decision, dude, to hire that raging wildfire of Rachel Zegler. No. And you, little girl, yeah, that's right, because you're acting worse than my 4-year-old niece ever will. Okay, I'll get to you in a minute. But you, the producers, the executive producer, and everybody else at the studio and at Disney, you need to take some of the blame for why the movie tanked. Because you knew what she was, yet you kept her on. You could have backed out of the contract, regardless of the lawsuit or whatever. You still could have done it, but you chose not to. Some of the blame lies with you clowns. And yeah, that's right, that's exactly what you are, clowns. Because you knew what you were getting into, and yet you did it anyway. Which is the very definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the result to be different. Now going to you, little girl. Please. Now you know why Disney put you all the way over in front of the castle where the original Snow White was based upon, which is, conveniently in the middle of nowhere in Spain. A country I happen to have visited long before, when your parents were in grade school, little child. Okay? Your big mouth is one of the reasons why that movie is in the toilet. Okay? Free Palestine? No, child. How about I drag your little bratty ass across my freaking knee and spank it so damn hard you don't sit for a year? Because maybe if mommy and daddy did that once or twice, your dumb little bratty mouth wouldn't be so violently virile. Maybe if you got disciplined a little bit, maybe you wouldn't be such a little brat. And as far as your singing, please, I'd rather listen to a female cat in heat than your mouth. Okay? And as far as everything else, I don't care about your politics. I really don't. But when you go and alienate a lot of people, like 85% of the country, whose parents and grandparents, the grandparents probably watched the original in the theaters when it was released, and whose parents watched it on that new thing called television when it came out, and who we ended up watching it later. You're going to alienate them with your big mouth and your stupid words. Listen, we don't give a damn about your politics, but keep it to yourself. Okay? Keep it to yourself. But when you say things like what you said, you're the reason. That is the reason why you have people trying to shut your big mouth because they know what you're doing has cost them millions. And the actual people who worked on that movie, who depend upon it to put food on the table for their families, can't now because of your big mouth. It's called consequences, sweetie. Okay? Maybe, here's a little thing. Maybe you probably heard it if you did go to school, but judging by what I am seeing, you probably didn't go to school at all. Okay? And if you did, you were probably in the damn bathroom doing whatever, putting on your makeup, trying to look pretty. Honey, even if I was stone-faced, ossified, I would not. And if you were the last woman on the planet, I'd sooner drill a hole in a tree, okay? I know what to expect with that. With you? You ever heard of Sir Isaac Newton? He's the one who helped us, who discovered the laws of gravity. He had a little thing about that in physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It applies to life, little child. Your big mouth and what came out of it is the reason, one of the reasons why the movie is tanking, and one of the reasons why you are hated. Yeah, a lot of people hate you, including the libtards. I wonder why. Now we go to another bunch of events that have been spewing across the airwaves. This clown, that carpetbagger from Missouri, aka Missouri. Nothing against the state of Missouri or the people from the Show Me State. Good bunch of people. In fact, the current senior pastor of my old church happens to be from Missouri. And he reminded me of a thing that I forgot a long time ago, the Country Mile. Y'all who know, or y'all who are from out that way in the South, educate the rest of those who don't know what a Country Mile is. Okay, I'm not going to get into it. I'm speaking about this one woman, if you call her a woman, who thinks she's ghetto. Honey, I'm more ghetto than you. Okay? You know who I'm talking about, folks. Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, I called her a carpetbagger because that's what a fella from that area called her, because he's absolutely right. That was a derogatory term going back to post-Civil War that the Southerners gave yet Northerners who decided to tell them what the hell to do. Quite frankly, I don't blame them. The reason why it was called a carpetbag, because it looked like their damn suitcases were made out of carpets back then. Duh. If any of you fools actually showed up to history class and were paying attention, you would have learned that. Okay? Madam, and I use that term extremely loosely with you, you got to understand, free speech does not at all shield you from what you said. Okay, because your words, you're inciting violence. Yeah, that's what you did. Okay, you incited violence against Tesla owners. Okay, against people who work at Tesla. Okay, I'm not talking about the executives. I'm talking about the fact, the slobs who work on the factory floor. Okay, the men and women who do the actual assembly of the cars, the ones who need who need those jobs to put food on the table for their families, clown. Okay, maybe if you remembered that when you were coming up in Missouri, and engage this. It's called the brain. Have you heard of it? Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. You don't. Because the minute you decided to go woke, your brain took a vacation. Okay? Those are the ones who actually need that jobs to put food on the table, to provide for their families. And what you're doing, and other clowns like you in the media who are doing this, who are inciting violence. Okay, no, it's wrong. And Madam Pam Bondi, the AG for the United States, she's right to call you out on your stupidity. Because that's what you are. You're being a stupid little brat and a fool. And Laura Lumen is right to have you charged for assault. Because, fool, what you did was wrong. Okay? And you have no leg to stand on to play any victim. No, you're no victim. Okay? No. You're an idiot, you're a clown, and you're a bonehead. And here's another thing that we don't like about you. You're going to pick on somebody who had a pretty good-sized tree branch collapse on his back, who is now permanently confined to a wheelchair. You're going to call him Governor Hot Wheels? Who the hell are you? Lady, you're the most despicable creature that ever walked the planet. You and Rachel Ziegler need to get together and have a cup of tea. Okay? Because you two are two peas in a pod. Hell, you're worse than AOC, who's from my home state. And don't even get me started about that freaking clown. I mean, she was a barmaid at any bar that I was going to when I was drinking. I'd turn around and walk out because she'd probably screw up a whiskey sour or a gin and tonic. Yeah. You got to watch what you say. And also saying that you got to smash Ted Cruz in the head? A man who has more class in one of his eyelashes than you'll ever have in your life? A man who's a descendant of Cuban refugees who came here for a better life and who is paying this country back by serving the very country that gave his family freedom. And you who are born here are taking a dump all over it with your mouth and your actions. You need to get thrown in jail, little lady. Okay? And I hope you do. I really do. Because maybe those hardcore ladies up in there will teach you a thing or two about respect. Because they don't have time to play with. They don't give a damn. They don't play games, honey. And that's just the jails. Never mind the state pens. And if you're doing, and you better pray you don't get a federal charge. You better pray you don't get a federal charge and get convicted. Because if you do, one, you're doing all that time. There's no time off for good behavior, number one. Two, it's worse in federal prisons than it is in state prisons. You'll wish you were in a county lockup if you get charged and sent to a federal prison, honey. Yeah. You don't believe me? Use this big mouth for once for something in your life, for something good, and ask. Because there are people who are in the know, COs and former federal prison inmates, who will be more than happy to educate your dumb butt. Okay? And you lefties in the media, nah, you need to shut up. You need to shut your mouths. And you need, to go away. Just go. We don't trust you. We don't like you. We don't want to hear from you blowholes anymore. Because you've proven us that you have zero class, zero respect, and zero credibility. You're done. And you other clowns in public office, like the mayor of Boston, the governors of Maine and Massachusetts, and Oregon. Okay? Be careful. Because Uncle Sam ain't playing, Pam Bondi ain't playing. My buddy Cash Patel and his number 2 guy, Dan Bongino, aren't playing either. Okay? Oh, and by the way, yo, Tampon Tim. Dude, my little nephew knows how to load a shotgun better than you, and you claim to have served in the army? Ha! Don't make me laugh, fool. Have a nice day, clowns. For those of us who are going, for those of y'all who are going through the mess at these Tesla dealerships and you Tesla owners, hang tough, folks. Hang tough. Okay? Better days are coming. And for you, Colonel, former astronaut, former who is now a senator from Arizona. I have no respect for your, okay, Mr. Kelly, I have no respect for you at all. You need to turn in your colonel's eagles and your astronauts' wings. You're a disgrace to the astronaut corps and the U.S. military. I have no respect for you at all. I lost it the minute you opened up your big mouth and said what you said. You're a disgrace. You're worse than Vindman because you knew better.